West Side, it's time for The Greg Show, starring Gregory Struss, 2014. I'm Scotty Joe Vegas, inviting you to stay tuned for the next 30 minutes because you'll meet and hang out with Roberto Montanez, a counselor in the field of substance abuse. And I can speak personally that he's one great guy. Plus Celine Graham and The Greg Show Orchestra. Let's hear it for him. And now, ladies and gentlemen, a man who knows how to burn a pipe, Gregory Struss. Hey, Merry Christmas, Merry Krishna. We love you.
Thank you. Welcome back to The Greg Show, emanating here from Comcast in beautiful Elmhurst, Illinois.
Let's give it up.
Beautiful Elmhurst, Illinois.
Yeah. I'm on now.
And I don't know. There's been like a lot of potholes this winter.
Speaking of pipes.
Speaking of pipes?
Yes. Potholes.
Yeah. So I don't know what's going on. We have not seen each other in a while, and I'm so honored because Scott brought a special guest with him tonight.
Yes.
Somebody from
The Old Hood.
The Old Hood. And I remember when I met Joe, it was when Tony Melia and I spent the night at your house. And we were working on the your Papa Joe and Mama Joe Vegas had this huge RV, a Winnebago. And so we're cleaning this thing, getting ready to go to a golf outing. This was the very first time I had ever gone to your house. And then we were watching the Adult Film Awards, and your brothers were, yeah, it was a long time ago. I don't know why I understand this.
I do remember that now. That was on TV.
Yeah.
With the scrambler. My TV, I can get in clear. We could see
So,
movies.
so we're busy cleaning this huge Winnebago, and then Tony Melia got mad because I was there and starts throwing like these
It was a
stuff to it.
Beechcraft RV.
Beechcraft RV.
Yes.
Okay. Anyway, we have a good show tonight, and I'm
Yeah,
excited
let's hear
about
it for you.
this.
Yeah. What about you?
This is interesting because, you know, when you talk about substance abuse, sometimes people are like, yeah, okay, you know, and you know, it's kind of like, well, what is substance abuse?
What is substance abuse?
Substance abuse is dealing with substance, obviously, but in the past, a lot of people thought that it was just alcohol, drugs, but now it's like this big laundry list of internet
toilet
porn,
paper, all that stuff.
gambling, sex addiction,
Lord, that's everybody in the room.
shopping, codependent behavior, and I mean, it kind of like makes me wonder, you know, is everyone a substance abuser on some level? And I don't know, but we're going to find out exactly because in this field, and it's a very exciting field, and it's really the future because as courts, you know, as jails are being overcrowded and such, a lot of people that are in trouble with the law and the legal system are having to go through counseling and substance abuse courses in order to fulfill, you know, court obligations and be able to and instead of going into the pen, as they say, they work with substance abuse counselors. So he is with us tonight, and I'm very excited. Roberto Montanez.
All right, let's hear it for him. Yeah.
Did you like the story about Tony Melia? They're kind of like, who's Tony Melia? Tony Melia was always good for a laugh, too. Tony was a friend of mine in high school. He was like our buddy, but he was always the butt of the joke.
He always tries and has me do things on Facebook, or I don't really go on Facebook, but he's always there. He's a car salesman in Crown Point.
And he's doing well.
He's a father of three.
Father of three, so
Yes.
good to hear from Tony. And
He's in the Chin Brothers
Chin Brothers
phone book
okay.
there.
And so anyway, that's what we're going to be talking about.
All
today.
right.
I'm excited. And here I am before the show talking, and I haven't shut up since.
Hey, where's the
Just
cue
chatter,
cards
chatter,
tonight?
chatter,
Is there any
chatter.
cue cards?
No cue. Doing something different tonight. Anyway, I'm Greg. This is the Greg Show, and we
All
are
right.
community television
Yeah.
from the West Side. We'll be back in just a moment.
Barbecues. Grill shit.
No different. We're all here to love. We're all here to be loved, so let's just, you know. So, yeah.
I've had a life of rejection. Seriously.
Yeah.
And it hasn't just been in my bedroom. All right. right, we are back, and I'm always.
Roberto. Sorry.
We ought to record what's going on in between the breaks because some of the conversations that we have
Are better than a show.
are kind of, yeah, of course, and kind of rattle people.
Yes, they do.
Yeah, because you were talking about a number of things I don't know we can really discuss on air, but
It was for you, the family member at home. I was pulling for you. Your country, your freedoms, your religions. Everybody's welcome here. Yeah.
so why are people so offended by simple stuff such as the Pledge of Allegiance, do you think?
Boy, that one zinged me because I thought you wrote a whole different way. I didn't know Pledge of Allegiance was coming, but I think people get mad because it's their right to not want it. There's, because like our generation is the take generation.
No, but we always said it. Like, I don't know.
We said it, but see, our generation at us and newer, they didn't have to sacrifice nothing. They didn't have to not use rubber or any of that stuff.
But that's why we always said it was to pay, to pay homage to for our freedom and our liberty, and yet today, kids don't have to say the Pledge of Allegiance because of the word God.
Yes.
So that's kind of fascinating to me. One nation under God. Now, whoever God is to that individual.
That's true.
And now it's just become a real political thing. And I really think that having the Pledge of Allegiance is important
It is very
in
important.
schools.
But see, until we get our land taken from us, the generations after us, they won't care because, can you imagine if you said no more iPhones for everybody? We have got to sacrifice for the country. There'd be an outrage, right?
Right.
Oh, don't use no rubber, nylon, all that stuff.
Don't use no rubber.
Don't use no rubbers. I mean, tires, because they had
But yeah, I mean, tires.
gas ration, stuff like that. Can you imagine that? No, I want my freedom. Where are we going with this? We're usually more about people, helping them. We don't give a rat's toot, do we?
I don't know, but I think
rats
that,
toot?
But I think I don't know. When I was in first grade, I was in Catholic school, so it was
I
interesting.
was too.
It was interesting because when Sister Theophila walked, she was this German nun, and she was like
I had Polish nuns.
She was older than
Italian.
the century,
Yeah.
and when she walked in, you stood up. The whole class stood up when the principal walked in, and then sat down. If the Monsignor, who ended up telling everyone at 7:30 Mass that there was no such thing as Santa Claus.
Yeah.
When he came in, you stood up. So there was a thing called respect that you showed people.
Our
that I don't
Monsignor
think-
smoked weed. He did. He did, didn't he, Joe? All right.
How do you know?
He got caught.
He got caught smoking.
Yeah, back in those days, they buried that stuff like other things. Okay, where are we at now?
So anyway, we just kind of got on that kick.
Yeah.
But
Let's
anyway,
leave our Lee Greenwood pants on. And yeah.
I don't know. I mean,
Glad he's laughing.
we pay homage to, we talk about, our servicemen and servicewomen, but yet schools just are not doing what our country was founded on, those
We
principles.
live in the land of the free. You can vote, you cannot vote, you can wear an elephant, coat or whatever,
Okay.
I didn't say it was a great point.
I'm sorry that we got on this.
I thought we were going to go for the whole thing about, to take a pill, come on in, the whole thing. But
Well, we'll be talking about pills and all kinds of things in just a few minutes. The Greg Show is seen on Xfinity Comcast here in the Elmhurst area and 65 communities in the western suburbs of Chicago. And people are like, well, can I watch it in Chicago? And I'm like, no, you're not in the western suburbs of Chicago. But you can dial us up on youtube.com and vimeo.com. And Michael Charles, who was on our last show, which has not been posted yet because I don't know what it is, but I'm facing serious issues with technological difficulties. And I don't know how to rectify that. I seem to have knowledge of everything, but I don't have knowledge of how to fix my computer. And it's just kind of bizarre that way. So real quickly, you came in from Mosinee, Wisconsin, 5.5.
yeah! Praise the Lord!
And what do you think of these potholes in this area? This winter has just been very difficult.
Actually, you're going to get worse because as the warm air goes and I've been trying to miss them all day. I'm sorry, I brought nothing to this bad.
No, but did you see that?
Absolutely
But
not.
I mean, how are they in Wisconsin versus what you're seeing around this area?
We use sand, and we have less people, so the roads are good.
Okay.
Now, Minnesota, Went out to Rochester, Minnesota. They had 1-inch ice on I-90, and in Wisconsin's roads were clean. I go to the state, spend some money up there, be nice to the people. I'm from here, but when you go up there, be a little nice, will you? Because I got to hear about them complain about you all the time. Oh, those people drive fast. Oh, this. Let it go. Be an ambassador of Illinois when you go up there. Spend some money.
In Green Bay, Wisconsin, they
boy.
just absolutely, and they're wonderful people in Green Bay, Wisconsin.
Oh, wonderful people.
They just do not like people from Chicago because of the Bears.
It's
like
because their
serious
daddy
rivalry.
raised them that way, and I'm tired of that. We got to break the cycle. We got to reboot as people. You say, what do you mean by rebooting? Let's say you're in a bad marriage, okay? So you tear up that contract. I want you to shut it down for a week or two. Don't eat any KFC. Then reboot and get back on the horse. And someone told me that I should reboot. You know, if it's gambling, if it's loving your mother, if it's loving someone, shut it down, get fresh again, buy her some Fannie Mae or, some cheap Walmart knockoff brands and love her, or him, or it.
Where are you in this process?
I think pretty much the whole framework. That's where I'm at. I'm shutting it down. I've been terribly alone and forgotten in Elmhurst. I'm coming home.
Anyway, we're going to talk about a lot of this stuff because
Roberto seems like a nice guy.
very nice guy.
I just messed up his name, but I was trying. I was communicating. I was there. I needed help, and
He did a great job.
Yeah.
Let's give him something. Okay.
I'm gonna burp.
When we return, we will meet substance abuse counselor and instructor Roberto Montanez.
Montez.
Montez.
Montanezo.
Montanez. I
Montanez.
thought that's what I said.
You got to say it like an elderly Polish one.
Montanez.
Okay.
Okay.
We're back.
All right.
Is that
Roberto-
South America?
We'll find out. After you look at this. Thanks for joining
All
us.
right. Yeah. Audio.
Talking about the flag, and then you applauded, and then this is what happened. So let's take a look at this. And I was in tears when I saw this, and we were
It's
talking
not
about
a piece of cloth. There's a meaning for every color on that flag. And so anyone who does something like that, and to get some pinhead in this country to do something like that, I think our legislators ought to go back and make an amendment.
What were your feelings?
All right, welcome back, everybody.
Tilden in the Weather Center.
I don't know if there's like too much going on here as far as my Tony Melia story. It's too much inside information, I think. We're going to have to spend a week where we talk about some of these things. Anyway, our guest tonight is substance abuse counselor and instructor, and we're very happy to have him here. Please welcome Roberto Montanez. What is it?
Montanez.
Montanez. We're going to have to do this all over again. I really look like a pro, huh? Thanks so much for coming out. We were talking about substance abuse. Very popular field right now that a lot of people seem to be studying, more and more people. And in the past, it was pretty much, when we talked about substance abuse, it would be alcohol or drugs. So let's talk about what is substance.
Well, those were the most common used drugs in the past, very popular. Alcohol has been, accepted, socially acceptable. It's legal, so everybody does it. And along with that came other drugs that were popular depending on the stages of society, the hippie area, the anti-war, weed, acids, and more new drugs came along. So, but on your question about what's abuse, mainly...
No, I said, what's substance? Then we'll get into abuse.
Oh, I'm going ahead. Substance is something that you're putting in your body. It could be something foreign. when we bring food to our body, that's a substance. It's a foreign substance. That some of them it has a purpose to be to be healthy, give you fulfill a purpose. And when you use drugs, you're also fulfilling a purpose. You're looking for something in there.
And as someone gets into, there's use and abuse, how do you as a counselor know if somebody is abusing the substance?
It's a very thin line to really come to realize when somebody is abusing or not. Remember, it's always two sides of the story. It's the person who's using, and of course, in their own mind, on their own perception, they're okay. There's nothing wrong. And there is the perception of the people outside, family members, most of them, friends, or co-workers, that you can see that because of the use of a substance, their life areas start deteriorating. They start having some type of problems. So when do we know when it's abuse? Again, let me be repetitive in this. When the use of a substance is creating a problem, it's becoming a burden into certain areas of your life. When the use of a substance or anything related to it becomes more important in the life of that person, that's when it starts, ringing a lot of bells and raising a lot of flags that's saying the person is abusing the substance. How can you say? There's many people that is very good at hiding their abuse to a point that they can go through life and be functional. And of course, in the eyes of everybody, oh yeah, it's a drink, he drinks, but it's okay, he never gets in trouble. So it's really, it's not easy to pinpoint that until you start really digging into those areas, how you have been impaired in your legal area. Most nowadays, the most common flag is a DUI, okay? Or you're arrested because of domestic violence, or you've been arrested because of public intoxication, or nowadays with the new drugs for possession. And it's that's the tip of the iceberg that start kind of allowing others outside of the person, and eventually the person himself or herself, to start looking into their use of a substance and see what's really going on.
And the use of 12-step programs, whether people have had a problem with alcohol or cocaine or eating or gambling or shopping or codependent relationships. You mentioned something about when you're working with somebody is asking them or trying to figure out what the relationship is. And I don't know. I'm wondering in 12-step work, the 4-step obviously taking an inventory, and then when you get to 6, it's talking about removing the defects of character. Oftentimes, like in sexual abuse, there's also another addiction going on. There's another underlying issue. So in 12-step work with that 6th step of asking to have those defects of character removed, is that enough? Because is a defect of character the addiction, or is it something about the individual?
I think it's more than just a character of the defect, defect of character. It's just more than that. Remember, there is not such a single addiction. You have other behaviors. Because remember, the addiction is a disease, yes, but it's a learned disease. Because it encompasses a lot of behaviors that lead to this addiction. And along with that, it's other elements that are, intertwined into that, including the sexual addiction. That in sexual addiction has many phases: pornography, sex addiction, prostitution, all of that. Now, working a particular step, we need to kind of go back a little bit on what's the purpose of the 12 steps. Everything, historically started as a support group between two people that they have a common goal. I don't want to do this anymore.
Right.
Be in the drinking, be in the behavior, looking for a change. So within that process, it's, following those steps, suggested steps, is you're making some changes. The fourth step is just you make an inventory of your
How your life's
wrongdoings,
unmanageable, yeah.
of the wrongdoings. And going to the sixth step, you are also looking into, okay, what else do I need to change? Now, it would be a great, room for debate in regards to is it just a character defect, or I have something else that I need to work on. Most of the times is I have something else that I need to work on. Why? Because it's not only stop using my substance, it's also what else I'm going to be doing. Remember, when I was actively using, or when the person is actively using, life gets a different perspective. Everything revolves about the using and not using. It becomes chaos. It's a total disarray. When people start recovering, you start putting together the pieces. You start building up bridges that you burn. You start, picking up the pieces in many cases. And along the process, you still need to start dealing with some emotional issues that are related to that. By picking up the pieces, many times you have to really face the consequences of your using in the past. And that can be very painful. And if along with that, there is other behaviors that are also equally painful, it's the recovery gets a little bit harder.
Okay, and when we come back, I want to talk a little bit about counseling with 12 steps and how a powerful combination that is. All right?
All right.
And more with Roberto after this. We are back talking about substance abuse, and we were talking about 12-step programs and counseling. And there's a school of thought that the 12-step programs, you have AA again, Cocaine Anonymous, Overeaters Anonymous, Gamblers Anonymous. I can't think of the other ones.
Yeah.
There's a whole group, but they're pretty much based on the 12 steps of
Yes.
Alcoholics Anonymous. In, a lot of cases, people are just doing the 12 steps and not really going, to that next level. And I think this is a controversial area because I feel that counseling with working a 12-step program is very powerful because not only are you getting the best of that 12-step program, you're also working with someone else who's, you're talking about the other things. Mm-hmm. Do you feel that 12-step programs are the be-all, end-all in the recovery process?
I believe that there is a great complement, with therapy. I believe that one encompasses the other. Remember, 12-step group started as a support system, and it has been in place for so many years, and that's why it has branched into other addictions. You just mentioned Cocaine Anonymous, Overeater Anonymous, and so forth and so on. So definitely it has been proven to be a support system. Now, sometimes you need more than just a support. You need to also work with those issues that are, underlying in there. You just, this other segment we were talking about the other character of defects, what happened on that. You need the guidance of a professional sometimes to start working on that, to start addressing those issues, and most of, to resolve those. Because, you might come and tell me, Roberto, you have this, and you have this type of personality, and I hate it. So what? If I'm not ready to deal with it, I will not resolve anything that has, that impact on people about my personality. But if I'm working with a professional, that is guiding me into identifying that it's a behavior that is causing some trouble in my social area by how I'm interacting, it's not going to be easy for me. Support groups, of course, they are going to be backing up because, therapy is always time limited. Nowadays, there's no year. We're not going to be years in therapy. It's short periods of time. So I need the support groups because support groups are going to be there forever. They're free and they're unconditional. So I think it's a great compliment on that. I don't know if I'm answering what you were looking into.
Well, and then you also have MISA, which is mental illness and substance abuse. And what I think is kind of fascinating about this is, what do you treat first? What was first, the mental illness or the addiction? Was the addiction causing the mental illness? Or was the mental illness causing the addiction through self-medication? What are some of the things that you do when you're working with a client and trying to pick through that, so to speak?
That's a great question because you have two concurrent problems at the same time. The mental illness that most of the times it's unbalanced.
So depression, bipolar,
sometimes schizophrenia. And you have the active substance, the use of a substance. So sometimes it's really hard to work, but the best approach is to start pinpointing which one you need to work first. Do you need to stabilize the emotional or mental state of the person and then address the substance abuse, or vice versa? And you will make the decision based on the assessment that you're doing during the interview on the early, sessions that you're working with the person. And many times you have to go back and forth because when you believe that the person is kind of emotionally stable and you put more emphasis into the substance abuse, something that you talk during the substance abuse might trigger a problem and an imbalance with the mental illness. Remember, these individuals have been using substances to self-medicate, and it has been an alternative for them to deal with whatever problem they're having within the mental problems. So if you think that they are stable because they're on medication, with the help of medication, the therapy, and a stable environment, family or social environment, and then you're working with the substance issues, something might trigger an imbalance or relapse necessarily on that area, and vice versa. Because remember, if the person was stable, something was discussed during the substance abuse sessions that triggered an imbalance or relapse on the emotional state, eventually it's going to come back into the use of a substance or abuse.
What would you say to somebody that's, either has a family member or they themselves are thinking that they may have an issue with something? What is your advice to that person?
As a family member, that you are noticing that something is going on with your loved one, but you don't know how to address that, my suggestion is don't be afraid. Talk how it is. I see that you are drinking too much, or I see that every time that you drink, you behave this way. Don't be afraid of that. One of the things that block the recovery is the fear, to really bring that to the attention, and there's the fear of how I'm going to be feeling and the fear of your reaction. We have to confront it some way.
Roberto Montanez. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.